Still wearing socks, okay? Well, look, they're on two different ways. Okay, well, hey, what can I do? What's up, my fellow troubadours? Welcome back to another video. We are going to talk about looping again today. Maybe you are thinking about getting a looper pedal, or perhaps you already have one that's been gathering dust. Perhaps you got frustrated with it and gave up. Either way, I think it's time for you to dust it off, because today I'm going to be sharing how these little tools can transform, and it doesn't have to be these two, but these loopers can transform your practice and your playing. Now, there's a ton of different loop pedals out there, as you probably know, from simple one-button models like this to way more feature-packed ones. But the thing is, it doesn't matter which one you've got. This video isn't going to be about the gear per se. It's about how looping itself can transform your playing, your creativity. I'm going to get into 4 ways that looping can help you take your playing to another level. Now, first things first, go and get that loop pedal set up wherever it is that you practice so that it's always ready to go. I don't know, maybe it's in your garage. Maybe your looper is in the bottom of your kid's toy chest. Maybe it's in the crisper drawer of your refrigerator. If it is, you may have the beginnings of adult onset dementia, but hey, that's all the more reason to start looping now while you still remember where your guitar is. So I give you permission to hit that pause button on this video and go set it up. I'll just wait here and stare at the screen. I don't know. Oh, I'll show you some new trick I learned. Watch this one. It's not really that new, but you could lick a guitar pick and stick it to your forehead. Now, if you're brand new to looping, I've got you covered there too. I made a separate video a while back that walks you through the most basic step-by-step aspects of looping. And you can find it in the description. I posted a link to it. So watch that video after this one. Now, before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you find this content helpful or even mildly amusing. It really helps keep the content coming. Check out the links in the description for ways to support this channel, whether it's through Patreon, a super thanks, or my Amazon affiliate links. Every little bit helps, and I truly appreciate it. And if you're interested in private one-on-one lessons or consultations, feel free to reach out via email. All the details are in the description below. Okay, so let's get into the first point a little bit. I have my looper pedal set up here, as you can see. Point 1 is that a looper will sharpen your timing with real-time feedback. And this matters because timing is the difference between sounding like a tight professional musician and sounding like a more amateur musician. The looper pedal is your best friend when it comes to sharpening your timing because it's like having a metronome with a memory. It'll call you out on any timing flaws instantly. It's unforgiving, and as much as that sounds harsh, it's what we need when we're trying to perfect our timing. So basically what it means is whatever it is that we're planning to loop, we need to make sure we can play it in proper time, and we need to be aware of what the count is and what the timing is. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the reasons you might have been frustrated with looping is you tried to create loops and they didn't come out good, and maybe it's just that the timing of what you were playing wasn't on point, and that's okay. Let's start with a simple song here. I'm going to start with a song, With or Without You by U2. It's a perfect example because it's very, very easy to count, and it's a simple progression. It's a 1, 5, 6, 4, which is used in many other songs, okay? So in this case, it's D, A, B minor, G. So the first thing that we want to be aware of is where the downbeat falls. How is this thing counted, right? So really simple. It's if we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and it starts over again, right? So that's what we want to try to loop, right? and it's played with straight eighth notes. Perfect first example. So basically what we want to do is, and on my loop pedal, this first button, you may only have one button on your loop pedal, that's okay. This first button is what's going to capture our in point and our out points of our loop. And again, I have a full video in the description about the very, very basics of looping. But here what I want to focus on is how a loop pedal will make us play with better timing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through the loop once, making sure that I'm counting it properly. I'm going to click in on the 1 of the very first time the loop starts. I'm going to click out on the very same 1 when the loop comes back around, but I'm going to play through it. I'm not going to just stop at the same time that I click the loop out, and you'll see what I mean. Because by playing through it, it ensures that we have a tight, full loop that starts and ends naturally, so it'll sound more seamless when it repeats. So let's start. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, and I'm in. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and I'm out, but I'm playing along with it a little bit longer. Let's see, did we capture the loop? We did. Now, if you notice, I was a little strong on that first one, and listen, I'm gonna leave it here because it's what I played, and that I'm gonna hit the stop button now. You may have a double click. If you only have one button, you'd have to double click to stop. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm gonna grab that loop again. I played that loop. It's good, it's in proper timing, but I'm not thrilled with the fact that the first loop was tighter. And look, there is the loop pedal making me aware of something that I just didn't do properly, or didn't do the way I wanted to. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and we're in. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and we're out. And I'm playing along with it just a little bit longer. Let's see how that one went. I feel like it went a little better. Let's see. That's a smooth loop. Now, if my timing had been off, that's a loop that I would be able to stack on top of because it's being played in proper time. Now, even though this is just a very simple basic rhythm, you may be surprised at how tough it is to play it in perfect timing and loop it properly. Okay? If you can't do that, well then that's what you need to be working on, and it's going to make you a better player. Now, what if we have a pattern or progression that doesn't start on the 1 beat? Okay? Maybe there's a pickup and it starts before the 1. How do we loop something like that? So now in this next example, it's going to be a little different. For one, I'm wearing socks. But we're going to be starting on an upbeat, okay? So we have a simple 3-chord strum on a G chord, a C chord, and a D chord. This is going to be an excerpt from Take It Easy, written by Jackson Browne and Glenn Frey, that was recorded by the Eagles. I'm only going to use the 1, 4, 5 chord progression so that Don Henley's notorious legal team doesn't come after me, because you cannot, thankfully, copyright a chord progression. So I'm free to play the G chord, the C add 9, and the D sus at will. Now, an example like this, the intro to this starts on an upbeat. So what do I mean by an upbeat? This particular one starts on the and of 4. So if we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 2, 3, 4. Okay? So how do we loop something that starts on an upbeat? We get into a lot of trouble if we try to just press the loop pedal exactly on the upbeat and start on the and of 4, like and 1, 2, 3. So what do? We play through the entire pattern. We click into the loop on our downbeat, on our 1, and we click back out on our 1. Basically the same thing we did on the last loop, okay? So let's check this out. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and in 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and out. Now, because I timed my loop on the 1, and in, you can't even tell where I clicked in, okay? So again, this is where it becomes very important to know how to count. So perhaps you got yourself a looper and you had a strumming pattern that didn't start on the 1, and you try to catch it just at the very beginning of the whole strum pattern, and you got frustrated because you weren't aware of what the actual count was. So the thing to take from this is, even when a pattern starts on an upbeat or starts before the 1, as long as you click in on that 1 of the pattern and back out on that very same 1 while continuing to play through the pattern, you should be able to capture a smooth loop if you're playing it correctly. And if you're not, then at least you know where to focus. Maybe get your metronome out and start practicing that loop with your metronome. Okay? So, those are 2 examples of how looping really can help you with your timing. Let's move on. Okay, next up, we are going to unlock your creativity as a guitar player and expand your knowledge of the fretboard with layering using a looper. It's perfect when we use it for practicing because we can lay down a foundation as a backdrop for our ear as we work on new things. Now this is a very broad topic, but I'm just going to give you some examples to stoke the flame of creativity and show you how you could creatively use your loop pedal in the practice room and then ultimately in your live performances. Let me give you an example here. Like, let's say you're working on trying to expand your chord voicings and learn your chords all over the neck or in different areas of the neck. Something like the cage system, right? Let's take a song, a simple chord progression like a song like Tupelo Honey by Van Morrison, right? So we have a G, D, C, G, G, D, C, D, then it repeats the first part 2 more times. Right? Nice chord progression. But that chord progression almost begs us to put higher voicings over it or arpeggios or something over it. Now, if we were in the practice room by ourselves and we wanted to like find different voicings, we could, but we don't have a backdrop to lay it against. So we could be making mistakes maybe and not even realize it, right? Let's get a loop of this and I'll kind of show you what I mean. Look at that, how that just pops up like that. It's magic. Still wearing socks, okay? Well, look, they're on 2 different ways. Okay, well, hey, what can I do? So let's grab our loop. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a head start, right? Click into the loop on the 1, complete the loop, and play a little bit afterwards to make sure the loop is smooth, okay? Now I have a nice loop of that chord progression. She's an angel of the first degree. She's a sweet, sorry, I couldn't help it. That's Tupelo honey. Just like honey, baby, from the bee. Okay, let's stop that for now. Now let's say we are working on the caged system. That's a system of moving chords so we can play different inversions or different positions, I should say, of the chords all over the neck. So let's say I want to add higher voicings of this song. I want to add voicings on top of it. Well, let's say the song is in G. I want to use the G chord, but I want to play it using the C shape, the caged C shape. If you're not familiar with caged, I'm going to be doing more videos on caged, but caged is a very good system of getting yourself familiar with the fingerboard, not just with chord shapes, but scales and everything that lives in each position. Very important. So let me just show you an example how I could practice different voicings of the same chords in a different position because I've got the looper working with me. Really good help. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay. The G chord, the D inverted chord, C to D, G, inverted D, C, G. Now let me lay down on top of it. Now I'm recording the loop on top of it. Myself. Keep going. Now I click out. Now I have 2 layers going. I have the foundation, and on top of it, slightly, you can hear the layer that I just laid down. Now, let's say we want to practice improvising or soloing over this, right? Oh, let's say we use that C shape. We're in the key of J. Add a rhythmic element. See how I can now I can work on my rhythm. I could work on my lead. I could work on my different voicings. I could work on so many things because I'm using the looper to keep a foundation for myself and work alongside myself, so to speak, okay? Really powerful stuff. And not to mention, you can now take this out, do this at a gig as you build these skills. Alright, so we covered how the looper can improve our timing, how it can help us improve our fretboard knowledge for different chord voicings or soloing, right? Things like that. Well, let's talk a little bit now about how it could also help us work on our rhythm, tighten up our rhythm. Let's say we have something that we're working on that it's not a strummed rhythm. It's something where there's kind of space in the blanks, right? All right, so I'm going to start with something that's very rhythmic in nature. Let's take the bass line to Another One Bites the Dust by Queen because it's very rhythmic. Bring our loop pedal up here. Here we go. Here we are, loop pedal. See that? All right, here we go. In. And we play along with it a little bit. Alright, we got a loop. Let's try to overdub the octave on top of it. See how our rhythm is. I'll give it a 95. Right, Right there, it's a little bit off. But this is letting me know where my rhythm is on and where it isn't. Let's say you want to practice your syncopation. You have the perfect backdrop now. All right, if I listen to this riff again, I'm going to go crazy. But you get the point. You can use the loop pedal to lay down single rhythmic patterns that you could use to practice. Let's say here's another chord progression. Let's try this pattern. One of my songs. It's a song called Eyes, and it's got this little groove that lays over the top of this. Now, this is going to get me into my last point of how we could use a loop pedal to help us compose, because I had this chord progression and I looped this chord progression, and it allowed me to come up with this kind of riff that goes over the top. And here it goes. Let's see if we can play it. Had I not had a loop pedal to allow me to lay that part down, I would have never been able to kind of come up with the... I mean, I might have come up with it, but without the loop pedal locking in that pattern for me to work over, I wouldn't have been able to create something on top of it. It's like having another band member. So a looper can help you compose, create, and write. Okay? Another example. This is another original song, and I use them because this is things that I've created, right? So I had this little progression. It went... So I looped this. Now, I can start being creative with some, whether it's melodies. I heard you crying in your sleep last night. I was able to write a song. Didn't wanna wake you, girl. I know you keep your feelings tight. Kissed your forehead, made you smile. I was able to use a loop pedal to create an idea. Now, I could have recorded this idea into a DAW or into a recording system and wrote the song, I suppose, but it's so much easier to have a loop pedal right there in your practice room where you could just kind of make mistakes and come up with ideas on the fly. Practice your knowledge of the fretboard. Practice your knowledge of rhythm. You're becoming a better player. You're exploring your creativity, all because of this little loop pedal. So I hope that these 4 ways, and me kind of just showing you what I do with all the bumps and bruises and all the mistakes as well, the process helps you realize that a loop pedal can help you to grow and become a better guitar player and keep you inspired to play. I'm Frank Persico. Thank you for liking and supporting this channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.